right. So this first one, honestly, some of us were trying so hard to make sure we showed our work correctly. So pat yourselves on the back. Y'all did great showing your work. But then when you were trying really hard to show your work, you forgot to use your noodle. You forgot to just use your common sense, your brain. So let's look at these numbers right here. Can I have a volunteer read these numbers? And let's make sure we read it how we would read a decimal. All right, Samira, go ahead. Oh, I got a lawnmower out here, so if I don't hear you, I'm sorry.
Should I start with Hank?
Yes, start with Hank.
6 and 6 Wednesday and 300.
Oh, so let's just read read the number like normal. What's the first two digits right there? What is that number?
66.
Yeah, 66. What's their decimal say?
And
then what's this number right here?
32.
And what's that last place value?
Hundreds.
Excellent. That's how you say it. Good job. 66 and 32 hundredths. All right, now let's go ahead and read Gabby's weight. Samara, go ahead.
Sorry, I need to. 8 and 65 hundredths.
There you go. Great job. 8 and 65 hundredths. Okay, right off the bat, which one's more, 8 or 66?
66.
Yeah, 66 is greater. So automatically, I think we could have compared without having to really show our work. But I like for us to practice showing our work with something that our brains can check pretty easily. We're like, oh yeah, like that makes sense, that works. So we're going to use this as a practice problem for how to show our work, and then we'll get into the tough ones. Almost dropped my marker. All right, so before I write it on the board, what has to line up when I'm showing my work? Let me see those hands. What has to line up when I'm going to show my work on the board or on my paper, whatever I'm showing my work on? Genesis, what do I need to show, or what do I need to line up?
Your numbers.
Okay, so yes, my numbers need to be lined up, but they need to be lined up very specifically. I can't just line them up however I want to and make sure that, they're on top of each other.
To line them up first, then.
Oh, I do. I can draw my lines first. So there's something special that has to get lined up with them. And Josiah, do you know what has to get lined up when we are comparing our numbers?
The lines that, like the place value lines.
Yes, place value. Our place values need to get lined up. Or another thing you could say is the decimals. Our decimals need to line up. Our decimals always want to stack up on each other. That way we know our place values get lined up. So great job. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go ahead and write my number, 66 and 32 hundredths. And then I'm going to write my second number, and I'm just going to make sure that my decimal lines up right there. And it's all lined up. And now I'm just going to go ahead and draw those lines to split up my place values. I think that's probably the easiest way for me to write it out. And so now I need to start comparing. But where do I start comparing from? Do I just look for a random place where it's different? Do I start from the left side? Do I start from the right side? Like, somebody help me out here. What do I need to do?
You need to start from the left.
Nope. I'll call on you after this jet passes over. Good gracious. All right, Miss Nellie, what do I need to do?
You need to start from the highest number in the place value, because then you can know which one is greater.
Yes, thank you so much. So I need to start from the greatest place value, which is going to be on the left, because remember, left is larger. So I'm going to start over here on the left, because that's going to make more of a difference. It doesn't really matter if these numbers are bigger or smaller until we compare the bigger ones. Because let's say I'm going to pick on Nellie. So me and Nellie, we have some money and we want to know who has more. I have $10.01. Nellie has $2.10. So it doesn't really matter if Nellie has more pennies than I do because I have $10 and she only has $2. So that's just an example of why we start on the left side with the larger place value, because the larger it is, the more important it is. Thanks for letting me pick on you, Nellie. All right, so over here I'm going to compare 6 and then, there's nothing there. What happens? What do I do? What needs to go right there? Can you show me with your hands? What do I put right here? Thank you, Genesis, Samira, and Nellie. Oh, I'm looking through. What else? Thanks, Cullen and Fumi. Wonderful job, Laylan. Yes, I'm just going to draw in my 0 right here. And I'm just doing my little dotted 0 so I know I added it in for comparing. Okay, so now 6 and 0, those are different. This is my first place is different, so I'm circling that place value. All right, and show me with your fingers, is 6 or 0 greater? Which one, 6 or 0? Excellent, thank you so much. 6, I know y'all know. I just want to make sure you're going back and forth with me. And I see those of you who are participating in the chat. Thank you so much. All right, so this number right here is greater, 66 and 32 hundredths, just like we predicted earlier, and that makes sense. So I'm going to drag my comparison sign up here on the slide to have the alligator mouth eat Hank, because Hank's weight is greater. So no alligators are eating Hank though, no worries.
I think the alligator think Gabby's tastier.
Oh no, nobody can eat my kitty. But so, and I know a lot of you like to draw your dots. So let's say it's like 66 and 8, and you know 66 is greater. A lot of you like to draw your 2 dots for the larger number and 1 dot for the smaller number and connect them. So that's another strategy you can use. All right, thank you so much. Y'all are doing great. Now we're going to move on to one of the more challenging ones that we got stuck on, which is this one right here. So I need another friend who I have not heard from yet. I've already heard from Miss Nellie, Samira, and Genesis, and I've already heard from, who else did I already hear from? Josiah. So I need another friend to read these decimals for me. Go ahead, Cullen.
28 and 5/10. 28 and 5/10.
Okay, so let's read it as it's written. So for Hank, it's 28 and 50. We have a 50 right there. So can you read that?
28 and 50/10.
What's that last place value the zeros in?
Hundreds.
There we go. Great job. You want to read it one more time?
Yeah. 28 and 50 hundredths.
Great job. All right, now read Gabby.
28 and 5/10.
Woo! Zoom high five. Good job. Okay, so now we're going to compare these two. I'm going to do the exact same thing that y'all had me do last time. I'm going to line up my place values by making sure that my decimals are lined up. And then I'm going to fill in if I need to do any zeros. And we'll start comparing from left to right. Here we go. 28 and 50 hundredths, just like Cullen told me. And then 28 and 5/10, just like Cullen told me. So this is how fast Hank and Gabby run. And now I'm going to draw my lines and split up my place values. Oh, I have an empty spot right here. Show me with your hands. What do I need to do with this empty spot? I see Samara. I see Nellie. I see Fumi. I can't see other people. There you go, Laylan. All righty. Thanks, guys. I'm going to fill it in with that 0. Perfect. Now I'm going to start comparing from the left to the right. Where do I start, guys? I want everyone to take themselves off of mute. What side do I start on?
The left.
Left. Excellent. That was a mistake a lot of us made. We have to start with the left. Okay, moving on. 2 compared to 2. They're the same. Next. 8 and 8. Next. 5 and 5. Next. 0 and 0. I don't have anywhere else to go. What happened? What do I do?
Explain.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand, guys. What happened? What do I need to do? Nellie's kind of giving it away, but I've already heard from her, so I want to hear from somebody else. All right, Haley, thank you so much. Go ahead, Haley.
I guess next you would put the equal sign in between them.
Oh, man. Yes, that's it, Haley. Yeah, they're equal. None of them was greater than the other, so that means they must be equal. You're totally right. So I grabbed this equal sign and put it up there. Does anybody have any questions about how these two numbers are equal? I know on here it looks different, but remember if we add a 0 in behind our decimal numbers, it doesn't change the value. So these are equal. So I'm going to raise your hand and we'll call on you. I don't want to have to repeat that again. All right, I see some hands up. Yes, ma'am, Genesis. Oh, you're on mute, sweetheart.
What was the question again?
I was just seeing if anybody needed me to explain it more, if you had any questions.
Oh, I didn't have any questions.
All right, Samara, do you have a question about what we just went over?
Yes. Is this really real in real life?
So some of it is, yes. Even if you Google the speed of like how fast a cat or a dog is, this is about how fast they run. Yeah, true story. Nope, no one's got the code word yet. Okay, so next we need to compare. Oh, let me stop sharing really quick.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am, Nellie.
Did you Google the speeds?
I did Google this. Yeah, some stuff I Googled to make sure that it was accurate information, and other stuff I know because I'm their pet mom. Like how much food they eat or how long they nap. Okay, so now we are going to do this last one right here, which is who eats the most food. This is another one that kind of tripped us up. So, oh, Mackenzie just got our code word. Congratulations, Mackenzie. Stay on for this one and then you are free to go. Okay, so we have these two decimals. I need a volunteer I've not heard from to please read these because remember we're practicing reading our decimals. Do I have any brave friends I have not heard from yet? All right, Mackenzie, go right ahead, sweetheart.
Oh wait, oops, I'm sorry. I suddenly just forgot how to pronounce them.
I'll walk you through it. All right, start with the first digit right there. What's that?
3.
All right, what's our decimal say?
1.
Not 1. What's it say?
1/10.
Oh, you're getting ahead of me. Our decimal says and.
I'm sorry, I forgot about that for a moment.
You're fine. You're totally fine. I appreciate you working with me. You're doing great. Okay, so now we're going to read this number right here. How do we say 102 all together?
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting.
You're fine. Here, I'll read this
100.
one. Yeah, 102. You're totally fine. So 3 and 102 and then thousandths because that 2 is in the thousandths place. You want to try Gabby now?
3 and 12 100ths.
Excellent. You got it. Air high five through Zoom. Great job. So 3 and 12.
I'm sorry, I forgot about the first one.
You're totally fine, hon. You're doing great. And it looks like Fumi also just got our code word. So as soon as we're done with this one, you are free to go, sweetheart. Okay. So now I'm going to write these two on the board, and we are going to make sure that our decimals line up. So I have a 3 decimal, a 0, 2, and then a 3 decimal, and then a 1 and a 2. And then I'm going to draw my lines to separate my place values. And then show me with your hands, what do I need to put right here? Thanks, Genesis is on it. Great job. Thank you, Mackenzie, in the chat. Yep, I'm going to draw that little dotted 0. So I know I put it there. And I'm going to start comparing from what side, guys? Take yourself off of mute. What side am I starting to compare on?
You will
The
start
left.
Excellent. I'm going to start over here on the left side. Great job. Okay, I have a 3 and a 3. They're the same. Next. All right, now I'm in my tens place, and I have a 1 and a 1. They're the same. Next. And now I'm in my hundredths place, and I have a 0 and a 2. Oh, this is the first place they're different. So I'm going to circle that place value. So I know the first place they're different. And which is greater, guys? 0 or 2? Show me, show me with those fingers. Great job. 2, 2, 2 is greater. So I'm going to draw my arrow to this number or underline it, whatever you need to do. To make sure you know that this one is greater. So 3 and 12 hundredths is actually greater. Remember how our brains kind of get mixed up because we see like 102 after the decimal. And we're like, oh, 102 is greater than 12. And then we have to reteach our brains, oh, wait, place value matters. So that's why we compare using our place value going from left to right, because that really helps us to focus on each of those place values. And so I'm going to make sure I bring up my comparison symbol, and it's going to eat Gabby's little hiney over there. So remember that Gator's going to eat what's greater, and 3 and 102 thousandths is less than 3 and 12 hundredths. Oh, so Myra just got our code word. Great job. Okay, so again, if you have guessed that code word, you are free to go. We are going to now look at comparing Hank and Gabby, who's the cutest.
both of them.
All right, guys, keep yourselves on mute. Remember, that's our expectation. I want to be able to hear from each of you, and I can't when we all like, okay? So a lot of you said they're equal, and I really appreciate that. It makes my heart happy. Because as a pet mom, I can never pick one over the other. But some of you are like, well, I'm a cat person, so I like Gabby more. And some of you are like, yeah, I'm a dog person, so I like Hank more. Oh, Laylan got our code word. Great job. And so I'm going to drag that equal sign there to compare Hank and Gabby. All right. Any other guesses? All right, so I'm going to give you a hint for my friends that have not figured out the code word yet. What are we doing with decimals? What have we been doing with these decimals? Yes, Genesis, that's it. And yes, Nelly. All right, Genesis, take yourself off of mute. What have we been doing with decimals?
Comparing.
Yes. So our code word is actually just compare, no ing. It's okay if you don't spell it correctly. I go back in and I will give you the point if I know that's what you're trying to type out. It will automatically count it wrong if it's not spelled correctly. But again, I will go back in and fix it if you spell it wrong. But it's spelled C-O-M-P-A-R-E. Compare. And that is your lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed our last lesson together. I enjoyed talking about Hank and Gabby. So guys, you are free to go unless you have a question and you would like to stay on and talk with me about.
Bye, Michelle. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
See you
I
next
can't wait for Thursday.
I know. It's going to be great.
Bye.
Bye.
Can I show you something?
Yes, ma'am. Well, let me see if Samara has a question first, and then you can, okay? All right, Miss Samara, do you have a question for me?
No, I can wait.
Okay.